Good morning, Joe.
And a beautiful morning it is.
It is indeed.
And thankfully, the weather cooperated for the Veterans Day parade just nicely this year.
Yeah, what a beautiful day. Geez, the weather was perfect. Nice sunny day, and the event went very, very well.
Yeah,
Nice turnout.
great turnout. Yeah, exactly. And just want to remind folks they can see that replayed here on QATV throughout the fall and on our website as well. And there'll be a lot more coming up, too, with the holidays right around the corner. But before we talk about that, Mayor, I hope we talk a little bit about the Quincy Center redevelopment and the next step of the redevelopment of 119 Parking Way.
Yes, I thank the council for the action last night. I understand it was unanimous in the next process, which was the physical taking of the IHOP property, so that we could proceed and build a garage on that site, which will then support the development all around that area, including the Atlantic Development proposal, which includes a food grocer and other pieces to it. But we all know that that looks like a Trader Joe's. We can't confirm that, but that's the direction we're headed. So this was another step. The council had taken steps previously in their votes on the DIF, on the URDP, and really to set the stage for what happened last night. So this wasn't something new or out of the blue. It's the next phase, really, to open up that side of the square for development along McConville and Dunford, that area. So it was a good vote, and we still get a lot of work to do to keep this process moving.
So the garage itself goes on the IHOP site, is that right?
That's correct,
okay.
Which is the point of the taking, yep.
Okay. And where would the Atlantic Development Project be going?
Well, the next phase then would be going back to the City Council for a land disposition agreement. So the property that we bought before that is that parking lot that goes between the bridge and Hannon Parkway along McConville, that is then opened up for development.
Okay. And why was it decided to do eminent domain rather than just purchasing the property outright?
Well, in either case, they're considered takings.
Mm-hmm.
The eminent domain really kicks in the schedule tightly, so we can be a little bit more on task getting this done more efficiently with the taking process.
I see. And so what happens to IHOP? Does the city have to relocate them?
That's a question of between both parties. We have been looking through some of our real estate brokers' potential sites for them. At the end of the day, it's up to them. We'd be under the law required to move them.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can't find a site suitable to them, then there would be a cash payout, as I understand it.
Okay. So what is now the next step?
The next step is certainly for our legal team to continue to work with the owner of the property, which is LBC, in executing these next pieces, along with IHOP. There's more than another tenant that was in there, but they have moved out one of the urgent care facilities, so we don't have to deal with that one so much. So there's that. In the coming weeks, we'll be presenting a land disposition agreement to the City Council, which would then open up the property around the garage for development that we have designated Atlantic Development as that developer. So south of the bridge, this would be a nice project that would be including obviously the garage and the units and the grocer and the bank and the coffee shop, and as was discussed a few weeks back when Atlantic Development presented informally to the planning board laying out the project.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this, and then the other project is the Beth Israel Leahy project on the other side of the bridge. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
We continue to work with Fox Rock on that piece. That's the north of the bridge that will go between the bridge and Granite Street.
Yeah.
It's like a pie-shaped piece, piece of a pie shape, kind of long, and it narrows down as you get towards Granite Street. But yes, that will be the site of the more than 100,000 square feet of medical, which would be Beth Israel.
I see.
Correct.
Very good. So it's really just kind of the next phase, right, of that portion of the square for redevelopment.
It is,
Yeah.
And in the coming days and weeks, the demolition will begin on the Akari building as well as the two city buildings
Yep.
on Hancock Street that back up to McConville Way. So that those projects will continue to proceed as well.
Okay. And just to clarify, the funding that was approved for the eminent domain, where is that coming from?
That's from the DIF, from the
Yep.
District Improvement Financing, which that's been the model and the tool we've used to date on all the public improvements in the square, which means that the cost of it comes right out of the values in Quincy Center, in the District Improvement Financing, as we refer it to. It's a great tool, and it's a great model, and we've used that very successfully.
Very good. Thank you for that explanation, Mayor. Appreciate that.
Hopefully it's helpful.
Yes, indeed. Yes, because I think it's confusing for folks to figure out what's going where and who's doing what. It's a lot of pieces of the puzzle, I'm sure, to follow.
Absolutely.
Can we talk a little bit, Mayor, about a public meeting held not too long ago about plans for the new Squantum Elementary School?
Certainly. We're in the phase of early design. We had the meeting out in Squantum, which was really to lay out in general what the city and the school department was thinking about, and to elicit feedback from the neighborhood, not so much on a specific design, but on the whole project itself, traffic and how that will work, and the flow for drop off, and where will the fields be if we're building on the fields. So that was a good meeting at the school that was well received. Got a lot of good comments, compliments, suggestions, and we incorporate those now into the next layer. And we have a building committee which has been meeting, and we'll bring now up to, and the next phase would be, because through the state, Joe, they still want you to look at whether the current building is feasible or not to use. So there's some folks that think maybe we can keep the original portion and build around it, for history's sake. The sentimental part of it, and so we're looking at all those pieces rather than just, coming right out of the box suggesting we knock everything down and build this new contemporary building. So there's those milestones that we have to kind of hit with the SBA, including potential reuse, not all the facilities, but part of the facility. So that's the phase we're in with the architect and the OPM and the city team.
Okay. As I understand, the new school would be a 2-story building. Is that right?
It definitely would be a minimum 2-story. The building currently is this long linear structure that is really inefficient. So yes, we would definitely go up 2 stories.
Okay. And I know there is some concern about keeping the playground or the park in back as intact as possible. Is that still the part of the plan?
That's a priority because that's parkland. It's not school land.
Yep.
Which has protection under Article 97, which means that if we were going to use the parkland in any way, we'd have to go to the state legislature for approval. Now, there's also the potential that maybe the new building is in part on the parkland, but when we take the old building down, we give back some land to make up the square footage. So there's options here to work this out.
Okay, very good. 3 new firefighters sworn in yesterday, Mayor.
Yes, we had 3 laterals. A lateral is a firefighter or police officer that comes from another civil service community to lateral to the city, so they don't have to go through an academy and be trained. They're already trained, academy trained. 3 individuals have Quincy ties and had reached out a couple of years ago with some interest. So we look at those one at a time. We get a lot of interest from laterals because we have a good city. We support our police and fire departments, and so there's a lot of interest of folks that come here. So we don't take everybody. We're very careful on the numbers because we also want to take off of the regular civil service list that Quincy kids take to become a firefighter or police officer. So from time to time we do that. It helps keep our numbers up. It's a very long, arduous process for hiring off the street, and all the training, the academy, etc., takes a long time to fill those slots, and we constantly have people retiring. So this helps us keep us close to the rank that's budgeted for the department. So we use this tool from time to time.
It's Jonathan Conso, Timothy Barron, and Jake Williamson. Do you know where they came from?
Well, they all have Quincy roots.
Okay. Well, I recognize 2 of the 3 names for sure.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Both the Conso and Barron kids come from firefighter families.
Yep. Exactly.
So yes, we're we make sure that's the case. There got to be some Quincy connections.
Sure. Very good. Coming up, Mayor, of course, it's going to be a very busy holiday season once again this year, starting next week, right, with the Hall of Fame dinner.
That's correct. It seemed to really sneak up on us this year, but I know we say that every year, but hey, I know Thanksgiving is early on the calendar this year, so
Yes.
that makes everything else earlier. So yeah, the Hall of Fame dinner, obviously the big game at the stadium, the turning on the lights the Friday night, the Saturday activities, the parade on Sunday, and then of course the subsequent events to that with the menorah lighting and the get together at the creche, the tree lighting of the General's tree. Then you got all the neighborhood trees that are lit in Squantum and Adams Shore and Howe's Neck and Fort Square and Stafford Park. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, it's great spirit in the city, and people rally around these events and really enjoy them.
Sure. When will the ice skating rink be ready for use?
It looks like around December 1st we'll be
okay.
opening that up to the public. That's very exciting. We're hearing a lot of good comments on that, and just so the public knows that there'll be skate rentals available, so people would have to pay for a rental, but the ice time there is no charge to the public. So this obviously it's our first year. We're trying it. There's a lot of work to it, a lot of organization, and we're hoping that once the schedule gets laid out there, that I think the Department of Natural Resources through the Recreation Division will handle the day-to-day operation. And I think we're even going to talk about making reservations, because if we have 500 people show up at once, that could be problematic.
Indeed, yes. Well, they seem to make it work at Rockefeller Center, so I'm sure we can manage it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a long time since I laced up ice skates. That would not be pretty.
Same here. I was never a skater.
Thanks for your time, Mayor.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.